what you do, the effort you put in is actually making a difference.
One of the biggest challenges for leaders at any level in an organisation is tapping into the needs, wants and motivations of the people in their team.
As a sort of coach and leader over time, I've seen a number of models. The one I like is actually called the 5 fundamentals of human motivation.
My name's Trevor Vanston. I'm an action-centred leadership trainer and I run Perspective HR in the West Country. We work right across England and Wales. And thank you for joining us for our series of video podcasts. These are on the very large subject of leadership, all the different aspects of it and how it interacts. It is a big subject to tackle on your own. So I'm very pleased again to say I've got my old friend Jim Hutton with us today. And I will draw you into the conversation in a moment, Jim. Every time Jim does one of these, I hit him with an enormous question, and I've possibly got the biggest one of all today. We're going to talk about the subject of motivation. Now, I mentioned action-centred leadership. This is based on the work of Professor John Adair, and obviously a huge part of action-centred leadership is around achieving the task, making sure the team is functioning, but getting the very best out of each individual. Now, let's be honest. In terms of things like HR issues, employment issues and those type of things, they tend to be around where things have gone wrong with motivating an individual. That person then perhaps falls behind in their work, or they're struggling, or they're not happy at work. And of course, that has a big impact on the team. And the reason these circles interact or overlap, of course, is that they all interact. So if the team is disjointed, if an individual is unhappy, that will affect the ability to achieve the task. So within all of this, one of the biggest challenges for leaders at any level in an organisation is tapping into the needs, wants and motivations of the people in their team. One size fits all won't do it. You can't issue a memo tomorrow that everyone's going to be more motivated. There's lots and lots of different factors to motivation. Professor John Adair tries to help us with this, with action-centred leadership, and he talks about some of the fundamentals of motivation, such as, first of all, as the leader, make sure you're motivated yourself, and of course only appoint people who are motivated, which is an interesting one, isn't it, when you're recruiting and selecting. And he talks about people that quietly and consistently get on with the job, people that demonstrate that motivation by doing the work. And very often a team, you'll see the test of its motivation in the individuals, how they get through the difficult times, how they get through the choppy waters around motivation. John Adair also talks about treating each individual as an individual, giving recognition. And of course, we have this inbuilt sense of fairness. So, you know, it's no good having the most motivational environment in the country if actually the level of pay you're giving people for what they do in the marketplace is below it. We have this sense of fairness and it has to be built in. So it is a great big subject. And to help unpick that, I'm going to ask Jim, with all of your experience, what do you think are the fundamentals of motivating your team in any setting? And clearly you have vast experience in the military world and as a coach now, which spans the commercial world as well. What are the key elements here?
It's a great question, Trevor. And I think it's at the heart of getting the best out of your people. And as a leader, understanding what motivates individuals and how to satisfy that, maintain the motivation towards fulfilling the role within the organisation is really important. It's right. I think it's right at the heart of what we do as leaders. And as you rightly pointed out there, you can't just send a memo saying, okay, you are to be more motivated. Although I have had those memos in the past. And let me tell you, they don't work terribly well. As a sort of coach and leader over time, I've seen a number of models. The one I like is actually called the 5 fundamentals of human motivation. And it chimes very well with what Professor John Adair is talking about. But it covers 5 things. And it addresses them as follows. You know, first of all, that what you do, the effort you put in is actually making a difference. That's really key, that your role within the project, within the task achievement, you're making a difference. Now that might not always be obvious to you in the doing, But it's up to the leader to ensure that the individual understands that,
Yes.
your part in this is contributing to the whole. So your effort makes a difference. Next is that you're doing something meaningful. And again, that can be quite hard when you're just sat at your desk drudging away on the same thing all the time, that it has any meaning. Unless someone who has the bigger picture, remember we talked about the pyramid approach, that you're maintaining this little triangle, which is actually a really important face of the pyramid.
Well, of course, our big question, why? Why something? Yeah.
And it is, and what my part in this is meaningful. Without this happening, the task doesn't get it done. We don't achieve what we set out for. So we're doing something meaningful, and our effort makes a difference. Next one is that you're learning something new. We are humans. We are curious by nature. We thrive on learning. There is nothing more satisfying than learning something new. And that might be from reading, it might be from listening, it might be from hearing, it might be from doing. But that whole business of learning motivates us. It does motivate us. It's fascinating. I personally didn't do any tertiary education until I was 59 years old, because I joined the military when I was really young. And then I was given the opportunity to do a master's, which absolutely horrified me. But once I got started on that, the thrill of reading and learning every day through that whole master's program was just very engaging, and it was a real motivator. And in fact, keeping on subject, if you've done tertiary education, is really hard to do, because you read something and go, well, that's really interesting, I'll just read a bit more about that, and then a bit more about that, and a bit more about that, which is nothing to do with your main thing. So learning something new is a motivator. Being supported by those around you, by those in the team, being supported by your leader, being supported by your subordinates, by your followers, really motivates you. In whatever way. Your bucket's full and someone comes in and says, hey mate, can I do anything to lighten your load? Oh, that's nice. That's a motivator. People care. And then lastly, you actually enjoy what you do. You look forward to it because it's good. It might have fun. You don't necessarily have to have fun, but it's enjoyable. It's fulfilling. There's contentment from what you do. You might find your flow. Flow is a really big thing for people, and their overall wellness. If you can achieve flow in your workplace, then
And when you say flow, explain that?
Well, imagine flow is when you get immersed into something and you lose track of time. But there's no pain or hardship in doing what you're doing. You just do it, and you're just working away, and then suddenly someone taps you and says, hey mate, it's 4 o'clock, and you go, oh really? Wow, where'd those 3 hours go? But you've been productive, you've been enjoying it, you're just getting it, you're in that flow state where things are just working. Real motivator if you can find flow in what you do. So those 5 things around motivation of, your effort makes a difference, you're doing something meaningful, you're learning something new, you're supported by those around you, and you actually enjoy what you do, are fantastic motivators.
Cool.
So for the leader, if you can target those and create the space for your people and your team to be motivated, then,
cool.
Good stuff.
And I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Imagine the scenario, somebody takes over a new team where perhaps things haven't been going very well. They're a little bit demoralised. That's very British, isn't it? A little bit demoralised. They're not very happy. What is the one, or what is the starting point, or what is the one tip you would give that new leader as to understanding how they get to the 5 steps?
Talk. Ask them.
Know thy staff. you're gonna
Yeah,
say.
I mean, it's like, just sit down with them and go, okay, acknowledge where they are, let them talk about where they are,
Mm.
and then ask questions. Well, what can we do differently? We now know what's hard to do. It's really hard for you guys to get on and work and do that. Okay, what can we do differently just to change that? If we did this, would that make it? Oh, that would make a difference. Okay, well, should we do that? Yeah, let's do that. Right, buy-in. If the ideas come from them, and you can go, yeah, we could do that. That's it's not going to cost us a huge amount to do that. It's within your ability to make it happen. Let it happen.
Mm.
Bottom up ideas, then actioned, empower the workforce.
Of course.
You don't have to have all the ideas. You really don't have to have all the ideas. Get them. Make it an interactive occasion.
Your
Get
job
them
is
all
to
on their
unlock
feet.
it, you're going to say, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Get them all on their feet. Give them a bunch of Post-it notes and say, right on that Post-it note, get your best mate, stand and have a conversation for 5 minutes about what we could do differently that would make this a better workplace. Write them down, stick them on the wall, and let's look at them collectively. And then sort them into themes. And then go, okay, we've got a theme around, wages. We've got a theme around, comfort. We've got a theme around, the software, hardware we're using. We've got a theme around, leadership. Okay, leadership, right. You haven't been effectively led. Okay, I'm going to change that. Let me lean into that. These are the things I'm going to do. You tell me if, they're hitting the spot. Okay, improving comfort in the workspace. What does that take? Get some ideas, whatever it is. But just go listen to them, get the ideas, help them understand what's achievable, what's not achievable. Eat an elephant one chunk at a time. It is an elephant-sized problem when you're the person put in to fix a broken team, but people achieve it. There's work to be done, but it can be done.
Jim, thank you for bringing clarity with that process. I think a lot of people who will be listening to this will actually take that little nugget away, because it's a very simple thing. It requires a commitment and some emotional intelligence, but it's, as we've said all through these podcasts, know thy staff. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thanks, Rip. First and foremost, be true to yourself. Don't try to be something you're not. Be authentic. Mm-hmm. It's almost always hard for leaders to ask for help. Some people believe that by asking for help, you're showing weakness. I take the opposite view.